I'm sure that a lot of you, as kids, on certain occasions would have your parents read to you Where the Wild Things Are, a children's picture book by Maurice Sendak. The idea seemed pretty simple, but there was actually a lot of thought put into this series of text and drawings. A bit more sophisticated than you thought, if you will. The idea is that a boy named Max acts like a wild animal and was put in his room without supper. Then the world around him grows, and he sails to the island of the wild things. He becomes king over them and allows for a wild rumpus. Then he starts to understand how his mother feels when parenting him and decides to journey back home. And when he gets back, his supper is waiting for him in his bedroom, and it is still warm. Man, is that deep? It really goes to show that your parents may be a bit frustrated by your wild antics, but will always provide for your needs. In 2009, this short story was adapted into a feature film directed by Spike Jonze. The author of the book, Maurice Sendak, liked the directorial employment and also liked the production. I could see why. The computer animated wild things, sometimes they're animatronics, closely resemble the ones we see in Sendak's illustrations. Not only that, they actually look like they're part of the environment they live in. If you're observant, you might be able to catch when they're CG and when they're animatronics. It's not just the effects that earn points for this film. The set design is also spectacular. It gives us something the picture book couldn't give us as effectively, a sense of what this new world is like and what the wild things actually do on a regular basis. Also, the bond between Max and the wild things is much further explored, and it's quite amazing how much Max learns from the wild things and vice versa. For such a simple story, it's amazing how much thought went into it and how well it worked out, considering other attempts at adapting short children's books into features that fail to capture the feeling that their source material provided as well as its message. A lot of people, particularly parents, seem to question whether or not children should be allowed to see this movie. The MPAA assigns it a PG rating for mild thematic elements, some adventure action, and brief language. According to Spike Jonze, the director, his objective was not to make a children's film, but rather to make a film about childhood. Sendak, after seeing a complete cut of the film, was touched by Jones's work, understanding that Jonze is a real artist who lets his work come through. Sendak even said that parents who deem the content to be unappealing for children should, and I quote, go to hell. That's a question I will not tolerate. If you want my perspective, we've seen films of our childhood with scary stuff, such as Pee Wee Herman, Willy Wonka, and the various Don Bluth and Disney films. Some kids can watch those movies and be fine. Others could watch it and have nightmares. This film is no exception, so really, it depends on the kid. Really, the best way to know is to watch the film all the way through and decide for yourself. As for myself, I think there are a few scary moments that may be unsettling for children, but nothing too extreme, I think. Ignoring such questions that parents ask about this movie being appropriate for children, this film's great. Not one of the best of all time, but it definitely has a charm to it that makes it all worthwhile. Best of all, the author of the book was one of the producers alongside 4 others, including Tom Hanks. Which means it was definitely looked at, the author gave his approval when he felt it right to, and the film was able to be made, according to the minds of both the director of the movie and the author of the original source material. I remember first seeing this film when I was about 7 or 8, probably the former, and that was the first time I ever saw the film. I remember being so impressed with it, but I haven't been able to see the film again until about 9 months ago. For my second and third viewing, I can tell you that it's good to revisit that old childhood memory and remember how much I liked the effort put into the film. Unfortunately, I was not one of those children who had the book read to them. Only about a year after I saw the movie, the book was read to my elementary school class. Over the years, I haven't really thought much about the movie, but now that I've seen it again, I feel like I've been missing out on revisiting my nostalgia. For nostalgic purposes, it serves very well, not just in how faithful it is to the book, but how it expands upon it using methods that the book couldn't use as effectively. It feels like a grander experience, as if suddenly going from a short, sophisticated story to a long, sophisticated movie. Okay, maybe the movie's not that long, its runtime is 100 minutes, but there really is a lot you can get from it. If you haven't seen this movie, I recommend you check it out.